Coming up on Operation Outreach, there are programs in place to assist Central Florida residents who are at risk for homelessness due to health, disability, or unforeseen circumstances. Orange County EPIC program, or Eviction Prevention in the Community program, and the Family Resource Program, FRP, are two such programs. Hear all about these programs and how to access their services in this episode of Operation Outreach. Also, in today's episode, every day, brave men and women serve our country faithfully through their commitment and sacrifice. We will learn more about the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Stay tuned. Welcome to Operation Outreach, a new program to highlight the services available to military veterans right here in Central Florida. I'm Fred Robinson, chair of the Orange County Mayor's Veterans Advisory Council. The Orange County Eviction Prevention in the Community EPIC program is available to eligible residents experiencing financial hardship. Joining us to share more details is Lauren Victory, Senior Social Services Coordinator from Orange County's Community and Family Services Department. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so
much.
Good
morning, Lauren. How are you?
Good, how are you?
All right. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Eviction Prevention Program?
So the Eviction Prevention in the Community program, also known as EPIC, is a case management program that can offer information and referrals, as well as financial assistance to households that have minor children within the home that are at risk of homelessness due to a current eviction they have in the court system.
And how would one qualify for that?
So in order to qualify for EPIC, they must be an Orange County resident for at least the last 90 days, have minor children within the home, so children under the age of 18, as well as a eviction notice from the Orange County Clerk of Court. So they do have to have an eviction case number. They also have to have insufficient resources in order to resolve the eviction itself. And then we do ask that they have some sort of income coming into the home in order to support self-sufficiency moving forward once the eviction is resolved. And then we ask that the adults within the home participate within the program for case management services as well as service planning, because we want to try to prevent future evictions moving forward.
And with that case planning, do you provide them with other resources that they can go to ask for different services that are available?
Oh yes, of course. So we assist with budget planning, we assist with networking with other agencies within the area. So if they need assistance with like the Orange County Empowerment Center, we assist them with that. We connect them to that resource. Heaven forbid they need access to food, we connect them with local food pantries in the area, employment services, so Career Source, Goodwill, those kind of resources, depending on what the household needs.
Okay, and how many, or as an average, single-parent households apply for these resources?
We get phone calls every day. So we have noticed over the last few months that the eviction rate here in Orange County has increased. So to get information about this program out into the community is our main goal, to prevent future evictions, and from that number continue to rising.
And what is your success rate as far as helping people stay in their houses to keep them from being evicted?
It's actually pretty successful, yep. As long as they maintain compliance with the program, stick with the service plan, the goals that we set in place for the families, 9 times out of 10, they make it through. They obtain better jobs. Sometimes they increase the household income one way or another. They can get their children into cheaper daycare. Whatever the case may be that has caused them to fall behind, most of the time our case managers will work with them to try to connect them to those resources so they don't fall back into the eviction.
And can you give me some examples of the guidelines as far as that they have to follow in order to be qualified for the program, as an example?
So you mean like in order, like the eligibility criteria?
Correct.
Sure. So they do have to be Orange County residents within the last 90 days. They do have to have minors within the home, so children under the age of 18. They do have to have a current eviction with the Orange County Clerk of Court, so they do have to have an eviction case number. Insufficient resources in order to resolve the eviction itself, as well as some sort of employment income coming into the home to provide self-sufficiency moving forward once the eviction is resolved. And then we do ask that all the adults within the home participate with case management services and service planning.
And how can Orange County residents apply for this program?
So this is open to all of Orange County residents, including veterans.
Good.
And they can either call the number, there's a main phone number that they can call, which is 407-836-6514. And that phone number will lead them to a voicemail. And that voicemail will ask them to leave their full name, a callback number, as well as their eviction case number. And a staff member will call them back within 24 to 48 hours to complete a more in-depth screening.
Okay, Lauren, you mentioned that they assist veterans. Can you give some examples of the assistance provided for veterans?
So the Citizens Resource and Outreach Division has a veterans program.
Okay.
And within that veterans program, the veteran themselves are connected to a VSO, the Veteran Service Officer. And those service officers are very familiar with the programs that we offer and the services that they can connect their clients to. So the client can explain their current situation to their VSO, and that VSO can either refer them directly to the appropriate program that we'll discuss this morning, or the client can call the phone numbers listed.
Okay, and what fulfillment do you get out of being a part of this program?
Oh, I love assisting those in need. That's why I'm in this job as a social worker. It is more of a calling and a passion rather than, at the end of the day, it's not about money when you're a social worker. So seeing those that are struggling come out of those trenches and, better themselves, better than their families, to succeed and become self-sufficient, that is just a passion of mine. I love helping those that just don't know. At the end of the day, knowledge is power. And a lot of these people aren't aware of the services that are offered there. And everybody needs help. We're all human at the end of the day. So for me to be a part of that path, their path to success, for them to succeed, and I just love to be a part of that. Yes.
Well, Lauren, it seems like you found your purpose, and I appreciate you letting me interview you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's good to know there are programs like the Orange County EPIC or Eviction Prevention in the Community program is committed to providing well-needed assistance for families who need help here in Central Florida. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned. The Orange County Family Resource Program and Crisis Assistance Program are also available to qualifying residents who have fallen on hard times. With us again to share more details is Lauren Vickery, Senior Social Services Coordinator from Orange County's Community and Family Services Department. Thank you for joining me again, Lauren.
Thank you for having me.
And Lauren, can you tell me a little bit about the Family Resources Program?
So the Family Resource Program, also known as FRP, is a long-term case management program that can assist residents who have had some sort of medical emergency, disability, or an unforeseen circumstance.
And who qualifies for these services?
So for FRP, you do have to be an Orange County resident for at least the last 90 days. We do ask that a key household member be unable to work due to this medical situation or unforeseen circumstance. We do ask that that person have been employed at least the last 90 days, and that they work with a medical specialist. So not just a primary care or behavioral professional. It has to be something along the lines of like a neurologist, a cardiologist, pulmonologist, all the lovely ologists is how I describe it. And they have to have some sort of resolution for their situation. So unfortunately, this program, we're not able to supplement for a lifetime. So the client either has to be able to go back to work, or if their medical professional advises us that they have to seek out some sort of long-term benefit, we can work with them up until a decision is made. This particular program, it is a once-in-a-lifetime program.
Okay.
So we do ask that none of the adults within the home have utilized our services before in the past.
Okay, and how can Orange County residents contact you for assistance?
So anybody who would like to inquire about the program can call the main number, which is 407-836-8466, and they will speak directly with a staff member who will do an in-depth screening. So it'll be getting their demographic information and a basic idea of what their situation is. If they meet at least the basic criteria of the program, they'll be referred to a case manager who will actually go out and conduct a home visit to do a more in-depth assessment.
Okay, and you have an additional program. It's the Crisis Assistance Program. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, so the Crisis Assistance Program, also known as CAP, is one-time financial assistance for rent, mortgage, or utilities for those who have had some sort of unforeseen emergency that is causing them to fall behind on that particular bill. With that program, we do ask that they have some sort of future management in place, so once they're caught up, they're able to maintain moving forward.
And what type of financial assistance do they assist with, as an example, rent or?
Yes, rent, mortgage, and utilities. Yes, for that particular program, yes.
Okay, and what are the minimal qualifications for that?
So again, you do have to be an Orange County resident for the last 90 days. There has to be supporting documentation of the hardship that occurred. So it could be a car repair, heaven forbid they lost income within the household, so a reduction of hours, or even an increase in an expense for the household. So if they had to do some sort of home repair, if they had a leak, whatever the case may be. So documentation of the event. They have to have insufficient resources to pay that particular bill that they're coming in for assistance for. But we do ask that the household have some sort of income that can provide future management moving forward once they're caught up.
It's unfortunate that many of our particular fellow residents in Orange County and throughout the United States, their income ends before the month does.
Oh, yes.
And then if they have some type of a problem as far as a hiccup in income or car breaking down, they're devastated.
Yes, a lot of our families are paycheck to paycheck right now.
And is there any particular thing that comes to mind to you with your particular programs that you are happy that they provide, like maybe for a hospice patient, or let's say, for instance, somebody that actually has been injured, and with that particular injury, they won't be going back to work for maybe the next 6 months or so?
So for that example, we would refer them to the Family Resource Program because they're going to need more long-term services than just a one-time assistance. So heaven forbid they get into like a car accident, or God forbid they are diagnosed with cancer and they have to go through chemo, dialysis, ongoing treatment. The Family Resource Program would be a better fit for that particular household because it's more long-term. They would be working with a medical specialist depending on their situation, and we would continue to work with them up until the point they can return back to work, or heaven forbid they have to seek out Social Security benefits. We keep in constant communication with the household, so we do home visits once a month in addition to budget counseling. We will continue to connect them to services throughout the duration of this situation, so we connect them to other resources if needed. So heaven forbid there's an adult in the home that needs access to employment services. We would make the appropriate referrals during that time while that other person is getting their medical treatment. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that they maintain compliance with their medical specialist because we want to make sure they maintain health. So we want to make sure that they're able to get back to their the good bill of health, go back to work, and just continue to provide for their family. So we will connect them, heaven forbid they need medical equipment. We can offer financial assistance for possible co-pays, medical insurance, car payments, depending on what the need is of the family and their budget review every month. Yes.
Yeah, it's very important because you have a lot of people who are challenged. They don't even have resources when they fall in that type of a circumstance for transportation back and forth to the doctor visits and different things like that.
Yes.
So I see the value of what you guys are doing.
Yes.
And how it's coming full circle. It's a shame that a lot of our people in our community now are being challenged with these type of things. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it's great to know that there are resources that your organization provides to help these particular people, make it through this particular period so they can get back on their feet and sustain a a good livelihood. Lauren, thank you so much for letting me interview you today. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everything that you said today to help inform us about the programs your organization provides.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. It's reassuring to know that programs like the Orange County Family Resources and Crisis Assistance Programs are dedicated to offering vital support to families in need here in Central Florida. When we come back, the Purple Heart is a distinguished decoration for our brave men and women who are wounded or who have lost their lives while serving. We will learn more about the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Welcome back. We're honored to have Captain Rich Sloan here with us today to share more about the Military Order of the Purple Heart, an organization dedicated to supporting our nation's combat wounded veterans. Captain Sloan will provide us with valuable insights into the history, mission, and the significant work the organization does to assist veterans and their families. Welcome, Captain Sloan. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you, Fred.
How was the Military Order of the Purple Heart established?
Well, it goes back in history to the Colonial Revolution when George Washington was interested in rewarding the members that fought for our freedom with some recognition, and established in 1782 what was then known as the Award of Military Merit. And it was a cloth award that soldiers could sew and pin on their uniform. It was in the shape of a heart. It was purple and had the word merit. Over the years, that became disused, so to speak. And in 1932, what was then known as the War Department established the Purple Heart as a military medal and decoration to award to combat wounded veterans and those who were killed in action.
Yeah, that's a particular medal not many people want to get.
Well, that's true.
With the Military Order of the Purple Heart, can anyone join that particular organization, or what are the qualifications?
Well, membership is restricted to those who have received the medal itself, the Purple Heart Award, and so it is a small honored group in that respect. We do have an auxiliary organization that consists of relatives, wives, widows, children, direct descendants of those who have received the Purple Heart. But they are not members of the Military Order of the Purple Heart organization. They're members of the auxiliary, if you will.
And roughly, how many Purple Heart recipients are in the United States? Just a ballpark.
Well, today, our membership, which doesn't consist of every Purple Heart recipient, is around 45,000. The figures for the award of the Purple Heart itself ranges from 1.7 to 1.9 million individuals, or Purple Heart awards, recognizing the fact that some individuals have received multiple Purple Heart awards. If you go back and look at the nation's wars in World War II, about 1 million individuals or 1 million Purple Hearts were awarded. In the Korean conflict, about 118,000 Purple Hearts were awarded. In Vietnam, 300,000 Purple Hearts were awarded. And in post-Vietnam conflicts, around 30,000 Purple Hearts were awarded.
And what role does the Military Order of Purple Heart play in advocacy?
Right. Advocacy is a very important part, not only of what the Military Order of the Purple Heart does, but in many, many veterans organizations. We want to stand up for the rights of veterans, not only Purple Heart recipients, but all veterans, to ensure that the benefits that they are due are provided, that benefits that should be awarded and provided are available. A lot of legislation goes forward and may or may not get passed, and we want to support those things that benefit our veterans, whether it's health care, safety, quality of life, whatever you have. We want to be at the table to speak on behalf of Purple Heart recipients and all service members.
I personally know a veteran that was wounded 2 times in World War II and Korea, and he had a challenge to get his Purple Heart. And the reason being is they were saying it was a friendly fire. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Well, I have, and it's not unusual for our local chapter. Military Order of the Purple Heart has individual chapters throughout the United States. Our chapter here in Central Florida covers Orange, Osceola, and Seminole counties. And it's not unusual for us to receive a call from either a veteran or a family member who says, I've lost my medal, how do I get it back? Or, I never received my medal. I have records that show that I was wounded, medically treated for a combat wound, and I never got recognized. So we work with those individuals. We may give them the direction they need to make application to receive the information or the items that they want.
Okay, and that would be great for a lot of times you have families where the veteran has maybe deceased, and now they may have a son or a grandson that wants to follow up and find out the legacy of their particular, grandfather or their particular father. It's great to know the resources that you do provide. What made you, or your purpose with being with the Purple Heart?
Myself personally?
Yes.
Well, the organization was really chartered by Congress to promote goodwill and camaraderie amongst those of us who were combat wounded veterans. And so when it came to my attention that there was such an organization, I felt obligated to join, to lend my support to those things that we are trying to accomplish, whether it's promoting Americanism and patriotism throughout our nation and our youth especially, or again, assisting veterans in some way to meet their needs.
And what other ways is the work of the Military Order of Purple Heart important?
Well, I think just like we hear today in the news, the veteran population suffers largely from homelessness.
Yes.
It might be mental challenges, medical problems that they have, to see that they get the benefits that they need or the support that they need, whether it's financial support or just some direction in which way to go to deal with a situation that they want to resolve.
And in closing, is there anything that you would like to say about the Military Orders Purple Heart that's special to you?
Well, I think again, it's in the interest of the organization and the nation to promote patriotism and Americanism. We find ourselves often in challenging times, and people question which way the nation might be going, but we look back on the contribution, the service, and the sacrifice to members of the armed forces, whether they have received a Purple Heart or not. And those sacrifices can be great, to family and personal fortune, if you will. And anything we can do to support each other as members of the organization or as veterans in general is really important to me and to the nation, I think.
Captain Sloan, I really appreciate knowing you, the relationship we have, and you coming here to educate us on the Military Order of the Purple Heart. And also, I'd like to thank you for everything you do in the community to assist us from our Veterans Council to the Military Order of Purple Heart. So thank you so much for letting me interview you today, sir.
Thank you, Fred.
You're welcome. It is heartening to know that an organization of exceptional nature exists, devoted to advocating for servicing the brave men and women of our armed forces who have made countless sacrifices for the greater good for our nation. If you'd like more information, anything we discussed in today's episode, go to www.ocfl.net/veterans. That's where you'll be able to find the links and contact information you need. I hope you'll join us again for Operation Outreach, as we will continue to highlight the many programs and services available to military veterans in Central Florida. Until then, I'm Fred Robinson. Take care and thanks for watching.